Hello and welcome. It is Andrew, your favorite sociologist on the greatest and most tongue-in-cheek MMA channel. And we have another face-off today. So that means we have another body language breakdown between Leon Rocky Edwards and Belal, remember the name Mohammed. I have two different videos here, one by MMA Junkie and one by the Mac Life, that have different good views of each separate fighter's face as they go into it. So let's go through it. I will pause these occasionally as we go through them during some of the important parts, and then to talk about some of the important stuff. Let's start with this one here where they're on the stage. Now, I noticed first that Belal shakes his hand, but he kind of leaves it awkwardly bent. His arm isn't really straight. It's really bent at the elbow. And Leon just walks up and does a fist bump. I'm going to address Belal's facial expressions on this one, and then we'll talk about more of the overall thing when I play through the other one. Now, watch closely. He does a lot of stuff with his mouth and a very, very big tongue gesture here. He's chewing a lot. Lips are doing a lot of moving, chewing. And then at the end here, look at this. Very big, just you can see his tongue protruding on the side. And that kind of chewing, a lot of that is a big sign of nervousness. So we'll go from here. And now you notice Leon breaks the gaze first and says something. There's a couple different things. Now, body language, you can't really hide everything. Some things will shine through, and we look for those clusters of things. But there are some things that are big moments in the theater that people are going to be able to control. And one thing that people think a lot about is, am I going to break the stare first? Is the other guy going to break the stare? Am I going to continue to stare? Sometimes it's a sign of dominance to continue staring. Sometimes people feel it's a point to like it. I'm going to be dismissive of you and turn away first, so that then the other like here, he's sometimes left staring. And if you do it too much, you almost look like you're begging for attention if the other guy's already turned away. And we can see what Leon does here is he flexes and he almost has that, says something, and he's got a very self-satisfied smirk on his face, and he put his elbow up right in Belal's face. Now, Belal does one side of his mouth. Don't know exactly what he was doing with that. It appeared to be some kind of smirk, but usually if you raise like one side of your upper lip toward your nose, it's generally a sign of disgust. So that's one thing. So he had his fist up, and he again put that in front to try and break the flex that Leon threw up in his face. And now over here is an interesting gesture. I'll cover that when we go through and examine this other video now, which gives us a much better look of Leon. So let's watch this entrance again. Belal comes, shakes his hand, points. Okay, he looks down. Now you can see Belal still seems to be looking down a bit before he looks up, as Edwards approached and he was ready with the eye contact the whole time. So they zoom in. Now, Edwards' lips are a little bit pursed. It's almost difficult to tell here. He's kind of doing the shaking back and forth, the slight, almost like a swaggery pose. He's looking down. If you look at their chins, Leon definitely had his higher. That's sort of a sign of feeling superior and up. If you go, stand up straight with your shoulders back, as a certain Dr. Peterson said. And that standing up straight with your shoulders back puts you in that position to be chin up. It's a superiority type of thing. Go ahead and stand that way the next time you're around a bunch of people, whereas Belal seems to have his a little bit lower. Earlier, it seemed to be up. Maybe it's the angle, but it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. Now, that could just be because he's shorter, but the position that you put your body in does send messages to your mind, whether you realize it or not. So he may be thinking, oh, I need to do this, or think that he's thinking that because I'm shorter or whatever. But when he puts his body in that position, when he lowers his chin compared to the other fellow, because he's encroaching on him, that does send that subconscious message to you that you did this submissive gesture in front of him. It doesn't seem like it's very deep, and he really does seem to be very intent. Both of them were making really solid eye contact here. And then, yeah, Edwards definitely looks away first, and you can see almost seems to be overcompensating and like really looking for his attention, which gives him the opportunity to almost pop that in his face because he was too busy looking at his face and not what his arms were doing. So he tries to go ahead, then puts his fist in front of his bicep there, does his half smirk. Now, what I find interesting is here, they both make eye contact. He jiggles his shoulders a bit, but when he's passing him, he turns his shoulder a little bit and looks away for just a brief moment before he then looks back again. Now, usually when you're passing somebody, that's a sign of submitting to them. You're not wanting to encroach in their space. So you're going to do the dodge and you're going to move and you're not going to make them shift their space. So at the end of this smirky play thing, maybe Edwards does that because he feels he already had his one-upmanship and he's walking off the stage, or maybe that is a little telltale sign down from underneath. But you see that where he just, for the split second when he was walking past them, and then Muhammad made that pursed lips and they nodded a couple times. I don't know exactly what was said there, but that is what went on that I saw in those videos. So I would overall say that Leon seemed a bit more confident than Belal did. He definitely seemed to get the better positioning with his raising the arms there at the end. He had that smirk where he seemed really self-satisfied, as Belal was continuing to kind of stare at him when he already had his dismissive point. And at the same time, he was really doing a lot of those mouthy gestures that are usually indicative of nervousness, while Edwards simply pursed his lips and pulled them back a little bit. From what I could tell, he wasn't really biting on his upper lip. Now, biting your lip and pursing your lips are both signs that you've got something inside that doesn't want to come out. But the biting of the lip usually indicates more of a nervousness and an unsurety, whereas when you purse your lips and put them both together a little bit, and he did seem to have his upper one pulled in a bit more, but a bit, though not as much as his bottom one, that indicates sometimes like frustration or anger, impatience with something. But that time, at that time, you're usually keeping your mouth shut, not because you don't want to say something that you're nervous about, but more that you're still thinking about, gosh, I really need to turn that off the next time. I apologize. You're still thinking about what exactly you want to say, or you just got some of those things going on. So that is my analysis. I would probably give the upper hand to Edwards as far as the face-off goes. That doesn't mean that's going to be it in the fight. He says he does have a lot more skills now, and he's gotten a lot better because he hasn't had to have the training camp. So he's had a lot of time to just learn new skills. Whereas Belal said that he's almost feels like he's in the same training camp. So he's kind of ready and raring to go. So that was each of their assessments of the situation. Now, overall, I still think Edwards has the fight. He just has a whole heck of a lot of skills. He seems to be a bit sharper than Muhammad. He didn't really get taken to the ground and whatnot with RDA, who's a BJJ boss, but he also is striking focused. Muhammad does a lot of the wrestling. We'll see what happens there. But in this fight, haven't done the statistical betting analysis video, my money is going to be on Edwards. 'Tis not to say that you should put your money there. Make your own decisions. But that's my pick. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please click like and subscribe and tell your friends. I'm really trying to build this up at the beginning here. We're going to have some comedy. We're going to do these regular breakdowns, some opinion and analysis, and hopefully get to the betting picks real soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, appreciate your time. Ta-ta, farewell, and good luck until next time, and hope to see you in another video. Bye-bye.